Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to another episode of STARJUMP Shipyard. Nice to see everybody in chat. Looks like we just had a subscription go across. Pathstrider85. Really appreciate that. Thank you for that support. Do appreciate all the subscriptions, all the follows lately, everyone. It's been absolutely amazing. The channel growth has been really great too, which is appreciated. As you all know, I am trying to make an effort in growing the channel quite a bit, and that's all because of you sharing it with your people and all that kind of stuff, your communities, etc. AMD 300 says, "Hi Graham, how was your day? I have a question. Why do you like Drake?" That's a great question. We're gonna get to that. I'm notating some questions down. If you have a question, put it in brackets. I will try to grab it. And we'll do a lot of question and answers today. What are we doing today? Well, we're doing a couple things today. We do have a giveaway, and we'll talk about that in a minute. We are going to be talking about the Battlecruiser, right? The ship CIG has. Oh, thank you, Vasily. Appreciate that. We're gonna be talking about the Battlecruiser. We're gonna be speculating on it. I want to get some back and forth with you all on what you think the Battlecruiser is, or what you think it should be, what type of mission sets it should do, what is the point of it. And with that, we're going to look at some other big kind of ship of the lines, right? So with that, we're going to also have a giveaway tonight. The giveaway is going to be on another down. Well, let me get there. Let me make sure I got the name right. We're going to be doing a giveaway on another, let me switch over here, another Deadlock patch bundle, another Deadlock patch bundle. Let me get the right logo up here. There we go. We're a Shipyard episode tonight. So we're going to be doing another giveaway on this. If you're wondering how you get in that giveaway, it's very simple. If you're on Twitch, all you're going to do is do exclamation ticket. And you can buy a ticket, or exclamation ticket space 10 to buy 10 tickets. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Maybe someone can try buying a ticket and we'll see if it works. Hepford, it looks like it worked. Yep, they're working. Thank you. Okay, cool. Looks like it's working. If you're on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, you're part of my awesome YouTube community. It's very, very easy. You're just going to go to the link that I pin in chat, which is pinned right now. It is a link to one of my other YouTube videos. This is a video on the constellation rework that we were messing with. And you just leave a comment there. It can be hi, hello, how are you, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to pull whoever the winner is from that. I'll pull a random comment, and I'm going to pull the Stream Elements winner from Twitch. I'm going to put both of your names in a wheel of names. We'll spin it. Whoever wins that wins the Deadlock patch bundle, which does include the new Palantino armor, which honestly is worth it alone. I do think it's one of the better Star Lancer paints, to be quite honest with you. But again, super nice patch bundle. We'll be giving away that tonight. If you do not have enough channel points, you should be able to follow the channel, and it should give you enough. You can try that. If you haven't followed the channel, follow the channel on Twitch, and that should give you enough points to get a ticket. Okay. But I do see tickets coming in, so it is working. That being said, let me just switch over here. Aofist, thank you for that follow. Appreciate you. Also, Soloff Trader, thank you for the stretch, posture, check, and hydrate earlier. Also appreciate that. Luca Renian, hopefully I said that right. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Anoxy, thank you very much. Everybody, I hope we're having a great day. It's been a little bit of a crazy day for me. Prince Gaming, thank you. As many of you know, I was supposed to do this stream at 11 a.m. this morning. Then I pushed it to 2 p.m. and now 6 p.m. It's primarily because my dog got injured today, and I've been dealing with that. So it kind of threw off, a lot of my plans for today. Luckily, my wife, who's always amazing, allowed me to do this 6 o'clock stream while she took care of some family stuff that I usually help out with. So big shout out to the Grim wife for helping me with that. But there is something cool related to my wife on Saturday. If you didn't already know, on Saturday, we're going to do a stream. It's going to be kind of an interesting one. My wife is going to join me as my guest. She doesn't know anything about Star Citizen. My dog is okay, by the way. Yes, my dog is okay. My wife doesn't know anything about Star Citizen, doesn't particularly care anything about Star Citizen. She knows I'm into it. She knows about Fleet Viewer and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Maiden Ariana, hopefully you are well. Nice to see you. I genuinely hope you're doing well. I met Maiden Ariana at Equinox here in Columbus. It was absolutely awesome to meet you in person, and I hope things are going well in your neighborhood. But yeah, my wife doesn't know anything about Star Citizen, doesn't particularly care about it, but she does like games. She is going to join me on stream, and we're going to do a part 1 where we choose a few manufacturers. I think it's going to be Drake, Origin, and then probably a smaller manufacturer like Argo or something like that. And I'm going to go through each ship. I'm going to give her the 1 to 2 line elevator pitch for it. Tell her what it's supposed to do. You know, if it, like, for example, if it's the Vulture, I'm going to say this is a salvage ship by a company called Drake. They, you know, blah, 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 real quick and easy. And then she'll rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, and we're going to write those down. I've always been very curious what someone who is not so obsessed with the spaceships like myself, what they think and what appeals to them. I think this will be a really interesting test. Now, on the flip side, she does know a thing or two about design and marketing and aesthetics and all that. She's worked very for 20 some odd years in the film and television industry, just like me. She is a producer, so she works with a lot of creative individuals. She's worked on major feature films, commercials, all that good stuff. So she does have an eye, as Finger says. Yeah, she does have an eye. So it'll be interesting to kind of see how that goes. Real quick, thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the follows, everyone. Here's the thing. If you have not followed the channel on Twitch, follow the channel, and you should have enough points to get a ticket. It's just exclamation ticket in Twitch. If you're over on YouTube, I pinned a link to the top of chat. Okay, the link at the top of chat will take you to a video on my Constellation rework. You can just go to that video, leave a comment on that video. It can be hi, hello, how are you, whatever. It should be short. I'm going to pull a random comment from there, and I'm going to pull a Twitch winner from Stream Elements. I'm going to put both of your names in the wheel of names, and I'm going to spin it. Whoever wins will win the Deadlock patch bundle, which comes with the Star Lancer skin, the new Palantino armor, and then of course the F-55 LMG. Really cool patch bundle. The Palantino armor, I've checked it out in game. It's worth it. So it's cool. There we go. Let's see here. Okay, so tonight we are talking about the Battlecruiser. A little bit. Oh, actually, you know, one more thing before I get to the battle. And here's the thing. This is going to be an open conversation. We're going to tangent tonight. Okay, this isn't just going to be a concise show on the Battlecruiser. There's going to be a lot of tangenting here. Actually, let me check the Stream Elements giveaway thing real quick here. It should be. Hold on a minute. Let me look at what the. I just want to see what the ticket. So it's $2,000, or sorry, $2,000, 2,000 XP to get a ticket. You should get a ticket for, or get enough XP for following. If not, you probably already got a ticket and just used up all your XP. So just, you know, try again. See what it says. So Pink Tank, for example, Pink Tank, let me see here. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Actually, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to end that one. I'm going to close the giveaway. If you're on Twitch, I'm closing the giveaway. Okay. I'm going to redo it, but I'm going to set the cost to 0. Okay. We'll I'm going to set the cost to 0 so that there's no issues with getting a ticket. Well, actually, I can't set to 0. I'm going to set it to 20 so there's no issue getting a ticket. It may have been set too high and was causing an issue. Okay. So it's restarted. All right. It's restarted. So even if you already bought a ticket, go ahead and buy another one. Go ahead and get them. You should be able to get them now. Sorry about that, everyone. It was set wrong on Stream Elements. I guess it was set too high. It was set to like 2,000 or 20,000, something like that. Okay, hopefully that fixed it. Sorry, everyone. Also, by the way, you can enter on the YouTube side as well, and YouTubers, you can enter on the Twitch side as well. You can enter both. You can't just, it's not limited to just one. You can enter on both. That's fine. Okay. So yeah, we're talking about the Battlecruiser. This is something that was brought up just recently in the Ship Showdown Q&A video by CIG. I know several of you have seen that, I've talked about that Q&A quite a bit. It was really great. It was with John Crew and Ben Curtis as usual. And essentially what was talked about was, it was actually a little bit of a surprise. I didn't think it was something they would talk publicly about, at least for quite some time, but CIG did bring up the Battlecruiser, which I'm going to swing over real quick here to the stretch goals for Star Citizen. Here's the funding stats. Can you believe we're up to $882 million? We're definitely going to hit by next year's IAE. I think we are going to hit 1 billion. Ultranaut. So what's about the Battlecruiser? We're going to go all through it. So if you start the campaign start here on 12/23, 2012, and they have all these stretch goals here. So if you go to the $17 million stretch goal, Trifork, thank you for the follow. If you go to the $17 million stretch goal, which is right here, okay, this one here, it says here, this was achieved, by the way, on August 31st, 2013, okay, which is incredible because it means in less than a year they had already hit 17 million, right? It says here, every pledger who backs before 17 million will receive a ship upgrade path containing an engine modifier. It's kind of interesting, don't know what that is. Probably abandoned. And then right here it says Star Citizen will feature an additional flyable ship class, the Battlecruiser. Okay, so one interesting thing about this is that it's not a single ship, it's a class of ship. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about what that means, what class of ship that means. There are no current battle cruisers in Star Citizen. We haven't seen any battle cruisers in Squadron 42 gameplay trailers either. Okay, but we are going to talk a little bit more about that. Now, one other thing I wanted to point out for those of you, we are coming up on IAE. Okay. As you all know, I am very eager to build up my referral points. I'm working on some stuff to help do that as well. But if you have any friends, any community members that want to get into SC, obviously use your own referral first. If you're trying to get referral points, by all means. But if not, feel free to give them my link. I would really, really appreciate it. I'm trying to get up to 50 referral points. The link is down there in chat right now. By using my referral link, if I get to 50 referrals, that should give me the Street Sweeper thing by Misk. And if I get that, the Misk Raptor, and if I get that, then I'm going to put it in Fleet Viewer. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it in Fleet Viewer if I can get those, if I can get to the 50 referral mark. Okay, so yes, $17 million got us the Battlecruiser. Now there's a associated chairman's letter here. I don't think he mentions the Battlecruiser here, other than he says here in the a letter from the chairman says, you also unlocked an additional flyable ship class in the finished game, the massive Battlecruiser. Okay, so when we're talking about Battlecruisers, what scale are we talking about here, right? What scale are we talking about? And by the way, I don't have a producer tonight, but I am grabbing the questions I see. Okay. So if I see the question, I'll try to grab it. I am going to get back to questions. I may not catch them all. Don't get mad at me if I don't catch them all, but I am trying. The Battlecruiser. Well, let's talk about scale. Okay. Because I know there's some of you in here who have maybe not heard anything about the Battlecruiser, don't know anything about the Battlecruiser. And we're going to watch what John and Ben said here in just a second. But, real quick here, I'm going to pull up Hanger Link. And we're going to kind of look at military ships, primarily military ships, the Kraken being the outlier. We're going to look at military ships here that are sort of ships of the line, right? Essentially, these kind of large to capital ships that are military focused that serve a particular purpose in the overall like fleet dynamic. Okay, that's sort of what we're going to look at here, and hopefully that'll give us some sense of where the battle cruiser will fit. Okay, so we're going to swing over here. We're going to start all the way down here at the Perseus and Hammerhead level. These are both looked at as gunships essentially. The Perseus, of course, being primarily focused, or it looks like it's going to be primarily focused on both large and capital ships. That's where it's going to sort of focus its firepower. It's going to be probably supremely good at taking out large ships, so things like the Connies, Starlancer attack, stuff like that. And then it's going to be a worrisome ship when used in conjunction with other ships when taking out capital ships. So if you're in an Idris and you have a Perseus and maybe a couple other support ships come up, that should concern you, right? So that's the Perseus. The Hammerhead, also a gunship, but focuses on a different class of hostile ships. It's focusing on more fighters, so light, medium, heavy fighters, all the way up to probably medium and some large ships, such as like Corsair and stuff like that. The Hammerhead is sort of supposed to focus its fire there, right, and provide fleet support in that regard. From there, we move up to the RSI Polaris, which is kind of considered the smallest of the military capital ships. Okay, it's considered a corvette, so this would be a corvette class ship. Moving on down the line, we get to the Idris. The Idris is considered a frigate. Okay, the Idris is a frigate. Originally, when the Idris was first concepted, it was a corvette, and it was around 150, 160 meters. CIG scaled it up to accommodate better gameplay and story needs in Squadron 42. So the growth of the Idris from Polaris size to what it is now at 242 meters was 100% Squadron 42 needs. Okay, CIG said that. So the Idris is a frigate, but there's something interesting about the frigate class when assigned to the Idris, is that it is a frigate, but it's also kind of a carrier because it has the internal hangar bay and it can carry fighters. Now remember, this is very, very important. I've seen so many people get really tied up with trying to mirror the, real world Navy ship class designations with Star Citizen. Think of it as more of just like a vibe or a very loose guide. They're not one-to-one. There's a lot of edge cases in Star Citizen, and Star Citizen obviously is doing things to sort of fit their own needs. So with the Idris P, the Idris M, they're a frigate that also is like a carrier as well. Thank you, Bob Montana, for the stretch. Let me do that. There we go. I'm stretched out. I heard a few bones crack there with that. Moving up from the Idris, we have the Javelin. Okay, well, actually, with the Idris, one thing is I down here, I am putting the Kraken. Now, the Kraken is considered a light attack carrier. So where the Idris is a frigate, the Kraken is a light attack carrier. Now, if you were to be overly general, you would essentially say that the Kraken is kind of Drake's frigate in terms of general class, right? You guess you could consider it like a frigate. Okay. So that is the Kraken. I kind of put it underneath the Idris here because I want to focus primarily on military ships here for a minute. Moving up from that, we have the Javelin, the Aegis Javelin Destroyer. So this is a destroyer class ship, modular, carries a lot of big guns, big player in Squadron 42. If you've seen the gameplay stuff, we've seen the Javelin in Star Citizen as well. We do know that the Javelin is another ship that will come to backers. There are people that own the backers that have purchased the Javelin before and or earned it in different ways. It is a big ship, 480 meters long. It's essentially double the length of an Idris. Okay. There are some differences between the Squadron 42 Javelin and the PU Javelin. I think the difference is primarily the main turret. So this big turret up here, I think on the, if I'm not mistaken, on the PU version, so the Star Citizen version, I think it has a quad size 9 gun, okay? Where the Squadron 42 version has a dual size 10 gun. I think that's the last accurate information I heard about the Javelin, okay? So there could be other small differences, but that's currently the difference. Moving up from that, the last ship we heard about was the Pegasus, okay, which is an escort carrier. Now the Pegasus very likely, and I am speculating a little bit here, but trying to speculate with a little bit of knowledge. I think it's very possible that the Pegasus is not a thing anymore. I don't know if it exists like in Squadron 42, like it was supposed to. What I'm actually thinking about the Pegasus is that it still exists in lore, and there's going to be people we meet in Squadron 42 that maybe used to have served on the Pegasus, but it has since been either destroyed or retired or something like that. Okay, but I believe the Pegasus is listed as an escort carrier. The last time I checked, pretty sure it was an escort carrier. But it is a really neat ship. It comes in at 923 meters. Okay, and that is it right there, 923 meters. Moving up from that, we get to the RSI Bengal carrier. Okay. Yes, I know there's some variants of this ship or supposed variants shown of this ship in Squadron 42. We are going to look at that. Don't worry. But Robbo, thank you for the follow. But there we go. There's sort of things. Where does the Battlecruiser fit? Well, based off everything I've been able to find, the Battlecruiser is going to fit right in between the Pegasus, or in this case, let's say the Pegasus is in fact dead in the water, right? Then the Battlecruiser is going to fit in between the Javelin and the Bengal size ship. So for all intents and purposes, let's delete the Pegasus for a minute, okay? So from what we know, the Battlecruiser is going to sit right here in this gap, okay? Bob Montana, thank you for the posture check. I am sitting up. I do hunch, so thank you very much. So it's going to fit right in that gap. The Javelin is 480 meters long. The Bengal is 990 meters long, almost a kilometer. So that would put our Battlecruiser most likely somewhere in the range of 600 to 700, or let's say 600 to 800 meters, okay, in length. So 600 to 800 meters. Now, I've heard some rumors of possibly what the ship would run from a cost perspective and some other details. From what we do know, we do think that the Battlecruiser will be the last concept ship CIG does. I wouldn't totally bet the farm on that, though. I know Jared said that, but I don't know. I think CIG could find a way to do another concept or two, but right now it's considered to be the last concept ship they will sell. I've heard rumors. These are completely unsubstantiated, by the way. I want to say that one more time, completely unsubstantiated, so take them with a huge grain of salt. I have heard rumors that it's possible we could see the concept for the Battlecruiser go on sale as soon as IAE, or possibly even Invictus next year, or even IAE next year. That's what I've heard. So the only thing I would take from that, and that could be completely bullcrap, but the only thing I would say for that is that I think the intent is to, if they are going to do a concept sale of it, I think the intent is to do a concept sale of it sooner rather than later, right? So possibly sometime in the next year or so. Okay. Power Tape, thank you for the follow. So again, big ship, big concept ship. Why a concept ship? And I think the reason is because they know with the cost of the ship, they're going to need to rack up a few waves of sales, right? So, for example, if let's say if they every time they do a hull limited concept sale of the Battlecruiser, let's say they only sell 50 at a time, right? And that's the limited wave. Well, you're going to want maybe 2 or 3 years worth of hull limited sale waves to rack up enough people that own the ship that it makes sense to put it into serious active production, right? Because it's going to be a huge lift on CIG, right? I've also heard some rumors on the cost. I've heard rumors of anywhere from $4,500 to $5,000. I've heard other things like possibly going into some packs. Again, all that remains to be seen. I personally would take that with a grain of salt. But here's the thing. The Javelin, and correct me if I'm wrong in this chat, I believe the Javelin in US dollars for War Bond is 2,800. Am I right on that? I know I got some people in chat that can correct me. 2750 North. Is it 2750? Okay. So 2750. So a battle cruiser starting at around 4,500. So essentially $1,500 more than the ship makes sense when you factor in just scale and all that. The real thing will be what features does the battle cruiser bring, and if it's worth it to you and your org. But that leads to another thing, which is hey Mootkins, hope you're well, is this going to be a ship that you can earn in game? I'm pretty positive that is going to be the case. As CIG showed us at last year's Citizen Con, not the most recent one we have, but last year's. They showed us the space stations, and they showed us the space station that dry docks building a Bengal, right? And remember, it's not like the dry docks only build that ship. They're supposed to build any ship of the class. So if they can build a Bengal, it would most definitely be able to build a battle cruiser. Okay. So for those of you that are just thinking in your head, oh man, I'd love to have a battle cruiser. It'll be the big bad boy. Just remember that it's actually going to be an incredible ship for your org to work towards, because you do need some things to work towards in Star Citizen, right? And it's going to be an incredible ship to work towards as an org, right? I think most orgs are going to start, in terms of goals, are going to start with something like a small base that will grow into a large industrial operation, maybe focusing on a few or all industry game loops. Okay. That will then grow to building a space station. Then the org will fill out, move on from space station to building out space station extensions. And then lastly, the org will start working on building ships from the space station. So there's a progression there. I wouldn't expect to be seeing a battle cruiser anytime soon. We're talking a decade from now, probably. But it will be a great ship to earn in game. It'll be a great ship for orgs to build, and give an org something to rally behind. And hopefully by that time, we have better options for org ownership of ships. Real quick, everyone, do not forget, if you're on Twitch, do exclamation ticket to get in to win the Deadlock Patch Bundle. If you're over on YouTube, my amazing YouTube community, all you need to do is go to the link pinned to the top of chat. It's a YouTube link. Go to that link. It'll take you to my video on the Constellation rework. Leave a comment on that video. It can be short, it can be just say hello, but leave a comment there. I'm going to pull a random winner from those comments. I'm going to pull a random winner from Stream Elements for Twitch. I'm going to put both of your names in a wheel of names, and whoever wins that wheel of names turn will win the patch bundle. Okay. Okay, let's talk a little bit about some of these ships beyond the Javelin to get sort of a better understanding of where a battle cruiser would sit naturally, right? And what maybe it would offer. Actually, you know what? Before we get to that, we're going to hit a few questions really quick. I want to catch up on a few questions. Again, sorry if I've missed anyone's question. Oh, and everyone, if you haven't followed the channel, please follow the channel on Twitch. If you're on YouTube, please follow the YouTube. Hit subscribe on that. Again, I'm trying to grow all the channels. Really appreciate it. If you haven't, oops, one second. Make sure you use my referral link if you are looking to join Star Citizen in any way or create a new account. Really appreciate it. Did I not spell referral? Oh, there we go. Spelled it wrong. There you go. And then obviously make sure you go to our Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, follow it there, because I do a lot of updates there. Okay. Before I get to these questions, there's one other thing I wanted to point out. I made a post on the community hub this just recently, just the other day, and it's been upvoted and is currently the #1 trending community post. So I'm going to post those links in there. Make sure you go there and upvote. Please do. There's 2 of them. That's the first one. I just put the link in chat, and I'll post the second one now. The second one is right here. Make sure you go give both of those an update for me. I really appreciate it. Those are super high-res images, and they're both currently trending really well on the community hub. So thank you very much. All right, let's hit some questions, shall we? Let's see here. Okay, Simon Wolf says, with CIG's heavily flagged penchant for science and materials accuracy, are the new metals lindinium and robertsonium supposed to actually fit in the periodic table somewhere? You know, I did see that they added new materials to the Evo build of the game that went out. What was that, the 4.4 build? But I don't know much about them, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure. VMXEO's in chat, everybody. VM, salute to you, buddy. Salute. We're talking about the Battlecruiser tonight. Just speculating wildly on it. If you want to jump in voice on that, feel free to. You're always welcome in the Grim Content Discord. You can always just jump in the waiting room if you want to join in on voice. If not, that's cool too. If you just want to lurk, however you want to do it, buddy. Hope you're doing well. But let's go back to some more questions here. Next question. This one is from AMD 300. Says, hi, Grim. How was your day? I have a question. Why do you like Drake? Pretty easy answer. I love old, like submarine movies, like Hunt for Red October, Crimson Tide, all those. I really love them. And I love the sense that when you're in a Drake ship, the interiors of Drake ships actually feel like you're inside almost a claustrophobic, dangerous place, right? The family plays, thank you for the follow. It feels like you're in kind of this dangerous ship, and it, or not dangerous ship, but you're inside this hulking ship that is protecting you from the outside vacuum of space, right? There's this sort of like weird contrast there. I do love all the greebles and the exposed elements of the ship. It just makes it feel a little bit more real. I think when ships get a little too slick, they start to lose a little bit of personality. A good example of that would be something like the Carrack. I do love the Carrack. I think the Carrack is an awesome ship, but it's almost too featureless. Like I feel like it does need stuff in it to make it feel real. Um, I know a lot of people look at Drake as sort of being the, you know, paper thin, weak ship kind of thing. I actually don't look at it that way. I look at Drake more as the kind of blue collar ship manufacturer, I guess is how I would describe it, right? It's kind of the everyday ship, and I like it. I like it just from a style standpoint. Vasily says SJ org question mark. Yes. Just haven't, it's all ready to go. It's really just announcing it. Everything's done. Everything's formatted. I am building the website. It's mostly done. Not that that is holding anything up. I really just got to hit go. And that's really just been on me. I've been putting other priorities in front of it. But it is all there. It just needs to be, just the go switch on it needs to be done. That's kind of it. Just the go switch, which I do want to do. It is a priority. We just need to get back to it. Giuseppe Matteo says, question, do you think the Battlecruiser will be the gun bangle from Squadron 42 demo, or will it be the brand new ship? Do you think we'll get to craft and fly that gun bangle to 1.0? Yeah, that's a great question. I'll pull up that video here in a minute and we'll take a look at it. Seth, thank you for the follow, or thank you for the subscription. Appreciate it. We'll take a look at that, Giuseppe here pretty shortly. I don't think it is that though. And the reason is because CIG thinks that the CIG does think that CIG has said that the Battlecruiser is currently going through concepting. The ship we saw in Squadron's done, right? So it's got a pretty clear concept already. So I don't think it's the same thing. VG says, does it make sense the Battlecruiser would be a Bengal style hull like we saw in the trailer? So here's the one thing I'll say about that. The Bengal and the Bengal variants are most likely RSI. I mean, the Bengal's definitely RSI. The variants are most likely RSI. So there is some credence to saying that the new ship would be RSI because they've got so many parts and pieces to build it out, right? So it makes a lot of sense. I think fundamentally, though, based off my ear just being to the ground, it sounds like the Star Citizen community wants it to be Anvil, right? CIG doesn't have very many big Anvil ships in the game yet, or with any sort of kits. They really just have the Carrack. So to build out an Anvil capital ship, I think would be a much bigger lift. So with that in mind, right now, I would lean towards RSI. But I think the temperature from the community is that they want it to be Anvil. So, all right, let's go do a couple more questions here. Let's see here. Question is Simon Wolf, maybe, is it the size of your battlecruiser that is important, or how you use it? It's always how you use it. Always. It's a great question. Giuseppe says, do you think that the battlecruiser will be the gun bait? Oh, I already answered that one. Sorry. I do think we'll get to build. Here's the thing I will say. I do think we're going to get to craft all those ships that we saw though in the Squadron 42 thing. I think those will all be ships we can craft eventually. Okay. Genetonic says, what do you think about the idea of selling the battlecruiser as a blueprint rather than a complete ship? Yeah, personally, I would. Actually, I don't know how I would feel about that. Partially, I think if you're paying the real money for it, you shouldn't then have to go through what is probably going to be an absolutely insane grind to then get the materials to build the ship. You know what I mean? Because you're I think they would actually get worse press for that because, hey, Victor, I hope you're doing well, buddy. If they just sell the blueprint, you're really setting yourself up to where CIG is just selling for you the ability to have the ship, but you still don't have it. Because even when the Battlecruiser goes flight ready, and let's say you have the blueprints, that doesn't mean you have a Battlecruiser. It just means you can build one. I'm sure the material grind for that is going to be massive. Michael Phillips says, will there be more ships / places to craft ships besides the Pioneer and the post 1.0 space station? Yes, there'll be fabrication hangars on planetary surfaces. These will be fabrication hangars that you can build. They're part of the base building. We saw them at last year's CitizenCon. They actually showed us a fabrication hangar that a Spirit was being built in. I 100% think there's going to be fabrication hangars that can build capital ships up to probably Kraken Idris size. I don't think you're going to be able to craft anything like a Javelin or Battlecruiser from those, though. I think those have to be done at the space station. Question from Dillman. Do you have a preferred manufacturer for the Battlecruiser? I guess my preference would be Anvil, but I feel like it right now, I think it's easier for CIG to do RSI. Arch Ralph says, how far away could we see new alien ships? In your expert opinion, I don't know about that, and no, I don't mean the Banu Battlecruiser merchantman. So how long could it be before we see some new alien ships? I think CIG wants to do more alien ships. I think we could see some post Squadron 42 release, to be honest with you. I think the biggest issue with the alien ships is I don't totally know how well they sell. That would be an interesting bit of information to have. I think some alien ships sell well and others don't. So I think CIG sometimes has to come up with new concepts and new flight ready ships that fit what the masses want. I personally would like it if the alien ships were a bit rarer and there weren't as many of them. I think it would be maybe a little bit more special when you do see them. So yeah, I think there'll definitely be more. Don't worry about that. VMXEO says, we have internal vent VFX. Do you think external ship venting VFX after landing, cooling gas, heat effects from engines is worth the effort? Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. I think they need to do that. I actually want the act of landing and taking off to be a much bigger production for these ships. I almost want more like extreme ground effects, like much more extreme ground effects when a ship is landing or taking off. And with that venting afterwards, I think when you shut the engines off, they should like steam and smoke a little bit. I think that would be badass. I hope CIG does it. CIG, if anyone from CIG is listening, if anyone from CIG is lurking in any way, please pass that message along. Family Plays says, StarJump Grim, what do you think about the Pegasus? Yeah, I mean, I like the Pegasus. I think the Pegasus is really cool. Obviously, we took it off of here. I'll add it back. I think the Pegasus is a really cool looking ship. I just think that was a product of its time at the time, and I think CIG has sort of moved off of it now and moved into more of the Bengal variants. That's sort of what I think has happened there. Because I do know that the Pegasus was supposed to be an escort carrier. Simon Wolf says, please share the link as to where we will be able to buy your merchandise, including the Captain mug. Please do not run out. No, I won't. My plan is on launching that close to IAE, Simon. So there's going to be a new StarJump merch store that will launch around IAE. I've got a few things coming at IAE, by the way, including a video series coming at IAE that I'm currently working on. And then, of course, the new store, the new merch store, all kinds of cool StarJump stuff. You're even going to be able to get the StarJump Challenge coins, all kinds of cool stuff, okay? Been working on it slowly in the background, pretty much there. As you see, we got merch. I got other merch around here too. All kinds of StarJump stuff. So you're gonna dig it. If you want to support the channel that way through merch, you will have some options for sure. Thank you, by the way. CB says, "Morning, Graham. Question: what will the gameplay options for this level of ship?" I'm assuming you're meaning the Battlecruiser. Instance PvE, org battles only. So I think all the above. I think org battles is where the Battlecruiser will really shine. I think instance combat for sure. The instance sort of fleet tactical operations. But where I think the Battlecruiser is really going to come into play, where I think it's really going to matter and have a lot of weight, is in station warfare. Okay, once players can build space stations, I'm telling you, there's going to be entire orgs that are um, centered around the idea of capturing stations, right? And so I think that's a big part of what the battle cruiser is going to do. Next question, Gin and Tonic again. What do you think about the idea of selling the battle cruiser as a blueprint? Okay, we answered that one already. I'm against it. I think it should just be sold as a ship if they're going to sell it at all. Amanda says, hello, what could a battle cruiser offer besides big guns, a large hangar, supply, repairs? Well, you know, it's funny you mention that because CIG themselves talked in the ship Q&A that they're coming up with, they want to come up with some interesting things for the ship. It's got some stuff about it that is very different than other capital ships. And what I think that is, personally, is I think the ship is going to have some command and control capabilities that a lot of other ships don't have. Maybe Bengals have it, maybe the Javelin would have it, but I think when you get up to those ships that are that large, I think they're going to get some level of command and control capability, where they can broadcast out to their fleet new waypoints and other things that can really take the battle cruiser into almost sort of a flagship, put it in sort of a flagship category. That's what I think. But I don't know. What do you all think? What do you all think about that? What do you think a battle cruiser should be able to bring to the game besides just big guns? Which I agree with you, Amanda. I think if it just brings big guns, it's not super interesting. Gasoline Moth reached a 3-stream streak this minute. Gasoline, thank you very much. Continuing on. Question from Cody Fox. Couldn't the Battlecruiser just be a modified Pegasus so they can reuse those assets and turn it into something else? Possibly. Possibly. However, I personally don't think they would do that, and here's why. Because that's just very un-CIG-ish. CIG very rarely goes, you know what, we're going to take these assets that we already worked on and we're going to reconfigure them into... I think they would just start over. You got to remember, here's something to remember. The Pegasus was worked on years and years and years ago, okay, by probably completely different artists, completely different art directors, all that stuff. You now have John Crew and Ben Curtis in kind of control the ship teams, new ideas, new pipelines, new strategies, you know, new metrics they're trying to hit. I think they would just start over. I do. I think they would just start over. And that's what I think they're doing with the Battlecruiser. Hebford says, the updates of STARJUMP, will it be in Flutter? Assuming you're asking if updates to Flutter that have come about are going to filter into STARJUMP Fleet Viewer and Hangar Link. Without speaking for Starlet, and I don't think Starlet's in chat, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think Starlet's in chat. I don't want to speak for her on the Flutter side of things because she handles that. But with STARJUMP Fleet Viewer, we do want to bring new functionality to it. And one of the things Starlet mentioned was that Flutter did have some new features because yes, STARJUMP Fleet Viewer is done with Flutter, but there's some new features within Flutter that we want to bring to STARJUMP Fleet Viewer. I do want to bring, I know everyone is asking for reverse angles on the isometrics for the ships. So right now you see the isometrics going to the right, or sorry, to the left. Everyone's been asking for ones that go to the right. It is a pretty big lift for me and VMXCO to do. I do want to talk to him about that soon. what I think we could probably do is, instead of just going through all the ships, of which there's a couple hundred at this point, and doing that right angled isometric, what I think we could do is maybe just take it at a slow pace over time and just tackle like maybe one manufacturer at a time. Like maybe we do Drake, right? And we render out a right angled isometric for Drake. And then, a little bit later, we maybe, we do another manufacturer and just slowly get through it. I don't know if we're going to do it, by the way. I know everyone's requesting it. I get about probably 10 DMs on Discord a week about it. I see VMXEO says that's a lot of new rendering. It is, yeah, and it is a lot of work. It's one of those things that me and VMXEO actually would love if there was a lot of other angles to it. It really just comes down to a balance of like how much we can push through. You know what I mean? It is a lot of rendering, and it's a lot of effort. So stay tuned for that. 3D Imagination 23 says, will players be able to purchase the Vanduul capital ship, the Mauler? It's a good question. I don't think so. I don't think that's the intent. I feel like CIG wants to kind of like be a little elusive with some of the Vanduul stuff, but never say never. I don't know if the Mauler even has an interior. Here's what I can tell you is when we do have the Mauler in the game files, I definitely know me and VMXEO will get it in the Fleet Viewer for sure, because it'll be cool to have a big Vanduul ship in there. I do have the models for the Driller and the Kingship, but they're kind of old models, and I didn't want to put them in the game because they were, or into Fleet Viewer because they were part of the leak. CIG was a little sensitive about that when I talked to them, rightfully so. And so I just haven't put them in. Plus, they're not the newest models, and we'll just have to wait till they come in the game. Gabrielle says, how many crew members would you need to have a fully crewed battlecruiser? Well, let's just kind of go. If the Javelin is supposed to support a crew of 80, then I would think a battlecruiser supports a crew of 150. Probably something like that. Probably something like that. I'm speculating, but probably something like that. Hey everyone, there's StarJump Starlet and VMXEO's both of them are in chat. That is the Fleet Viewer team, myself, Starlet, and VMXEO. Starlet, we had some questions on if new features that have come to Flutter will make their way to Fleet Viewer and Hangar Link. And while we don't have the answer for that, I guess what I could tell everyone at this stage is we are actively thinking about what updates to both Hangar Link and Fleet Viewer would be. I think Starlet and myself would love to see kind of a fresh coat of paint on it and maybe look a little nicer, a little bit more modern, a little cleaner. I think we'll look at where we can bring new features that make sense. And you got to remember, one of the things about Fleet Viewer is that one of the core sort of ideas behind it is that it's simple and easy to use. And the one thing is that when you add more and more features, things get more and more complicated, right? The more and more features you add, the more and more buggy it gets. So it's always a balance about how much you add versus, and to keep it fresh versus making it too complicated. But it is stuff we're thinking about. We do have a development Discord for Fleet Viewer. It is something we actively talk about. We do want to get to it. Definitely haven't forgotten about it. Fleet Viewer is still a major thing. Without saying anything more, I can tell you that CIG loves Fleet Viewer and is impressed enough with Fleet Viewer that there's been discussions. I'll leave it at that. Moving on. I-50mm says the Perseus is supposed to be a patrol blockade ship. Do you think the 50 SCU in the cargo bay of munition and do you think 50 SCU in cargo bay of munition and crew commodities, food is enough for being out on patrol? Okay, I think I see what you're saying. So essentially what you're saying there is 50 SCU enough cargo space for long period patrols? I think the answer there will be 50 is probably just what the grid can hold. I think you're going to have a lot more opportunity to store more SCU there. Personally, almost all ships that have come out recently have had their sort of SCU carry capacity increased a bit. So I think I could definitely see the Perseus getting a bit of an SCU boost. I mean, again, its role is to not carry cargo, but obviously you do want to carry enough to be able to carry things you need for long period patrols. And I think you're going to be able to do that. Remember, the Perseus has a small crew count. So you're not going to have to carry a lot of stuff, but you are going to need to carry components, additional components, repair materials, munitions, foodstuffs, all that kind of stuff. Bob Montana says the Retribution will be in game one day, ? But not for players. So, I've had a lot of people say, and you'd have to go to Paul Shelley, the Astro historian, to get better historical lore info on the Retribution. For those of you not familiar with the Retribution, though, I will spawn the Retribution for you here. The Retribution is the largest ship in Star Citizen. It is the Super Dreadnought. And as you can see, it's really big. Okay, remember, this tiny little ship over here is an Idris. Okay, so the Retribution Super Dreadnought is the largest ship. Essentially what the Dreadnought is, just so everyone knows, it's essentially a giant flying railgun. This whole front section up here contains a giant railgun. Okay, it's got to be like a size 50 railgun. Okay. I don't know. I know a lot of people think that the Retribution is more just a lore ship, but here's something I can say that was mentioned to me by a developer. Well, not necessarily a developer, but someone was tied into CIG. That CIG originally was worried about the Retribution being in Fleet Viewer. And this was a discussion I had with them. And what they said in terms of why they were worried about it was they were worried about it being in Fleet Viewer because it's in Squadron 42. So take that for what that means. Does that mean it's actually in Squadron 42? Or is it just mentioned in Squadron? I don't know, but they said they were a little worried about it being in Fleet Viewer because it's in Squadron 42 and they didn't want to spoil it too much. So there you go. Next question from Hebford says, you believe there's places where it's not permitted to go in military ships? Probably. There could be sort of like no-fly zone areas. There could be. I'm going to do 2 more questions, everyone. Then we're going to move on to more discussion on the Battlecruiser. Kydell says, how large do you think the Battlecruiser will be, and how much do you think it will cost? Also, do we even know what a Battlecruiser, know that Battlecruiser is coming to games? Yes. So we do know a Battlecruiser is coming to game. If I go to the funding goals for Star Citizen, if you go to the $17 million funding goal right here, it says Star Citizen will feature an additional flyable ship class called the Battlecruiser. Most recently, Ben Curtis mentioned on the all-ship Q&A that a Battlecruiser was being concepted as we speak. From a size standpoint, we do know the Battlecruiser needs to sort of fit somewhere in between, a Javelin and a Bengal carrier. So somewhere around the 600 to 700 meter range. So it would then become one of the largest ships in game for sure. Not as large as a Bengal, though. Thank you, Bob Montana, just hydrated. But a very, very big ship. How much do I think it'll cost? I think it'll cost $5,000. $4,000 to $5,000. Moonlight, a couple more questions, everybody. Then we're going to move on with the show. Moonlight says, question, when do you think we can expect a Battlecruiser concept sale, and how much do you think it will cost? Well, just answered the cost. In terms of when, I don't know. I'm starting to think more like Invictus. Invictus next year, maybe. See. Artemis TGM says, question, at Grim, do you think we'll see a model/NPC Battlecruiser flying around at Invictus with the Bengal in a few years? Maybe in a few years, but not anytime soon, and definitely not next year. Remember, CIG already has some pretty big ships in active development. Pioneer, Kraken, Perseus is finishing up. Ironclad. So they've got some big ships in development right now, and I think the work that is happening on the Battlecruiser is specifically early concept work. Okay, early concept work. Okay, we're going to move off of questions for a minute here. I'm going to bring up a video. Okay, 1 second. Let me bring this video up. Oops, pause this. Did someone make chapters? Yes, someone made chapters. Okay, we're going to bring this over here. There we go. Okay, where is the Battlecruiser discussion here? It's somewhere here. Stand by. Let me find it. Hopefully I don't miss it. If anyone else sees it, let me know. I got eye blindness that is not helping right now. I have some severe eye blindness. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay, so we're gonna pause right there. Let me put my headphones on so we can all listen, and we'll hear what they have to say about the Battlecruiser. Okay, we'll hear what they have to say about the Battlecruiser. Let me move over here. Okay, this was on a recent. This was just 2 months ago. Okay, this was just 2 months ago, and this was during the all ship Q&A. Okay, the ship showdown Q&A essentially. Here we go.
All the way back to our like original crowdfunding campaign. I'm talking about the original stretch goals. I think we're still on the hook for a Battlecruiser at some point, which will undoubtedly be the biggest ship in the game. Are we still going to do that?
Yeah, it's looking really, really cool with the progress we've made on it so far. So I think the Battlecruiser, you know, on paper, it's a big old ship, and you know, we are. I hope I'm allowed to say this. We're in very early stages of kind of our concept work on the Battlecruiser at the moment. Too late, Jared. Sorry.
We're going for it now.
We have to do it. I mean, that's fine. That's fine. It's not coming this year. It's not coming anytime soon. Okay, so just don't want to get anybody's hopes up or anything.
It's one of it's a big ship. It needs a bunch of concept to get it right. We're super happy with where it's going so far. I think it allows us to take a lot of the things that we've learned on our existing kind of ships and our larger ships and kind of wrap them into a big powerhouse and deliver something that we're kind of like we're super excited about. Not just in terms of like firepower, but what we can deliver from a ship this size with everything that we know now. So
yeah, it's unlike any of our existing capital ships. I think it's gonna be pretty cool.
Or it will be, because you're still working on it. Yeah. Just I backdoored into a subject here. Let's just be real clear. Trying really hard not to do concept ships anymore. 2025 looks like it's going to be, again, it would be impossible to launch a new concept at this point. So our first year without concept sales, we don't want to do any more concept promotions ever again. We might have to do our last one for the Battlecruiser whenever that comes and whatnot. But this is an exciting kind of big shift in our ships. We're flight ready or bust. Get the old ones that we need to deliver done, make new ones flight ready, and try to avoid concept promotions whenever possible. But realistically, if a Battlecruiser is as big as you're going to say it is, we'll probably have to do that one as a concept at some point. But we'll let future us worry about that whenever that day comes.
So there you go, everyone. There is some information on the Battlecruiser. It's something that's actively being worked on. And again, when you go back to, and someone in chat just said it. Who said it? Let's see. Let me grab your name. Real Mullins just said it. Said they wouldn't, the CIG said they wouldn't sell the Lightning, but here we are. And that's the important thing to know. CIG says things all the time, and that is the plan, but plans do change. And I can 100% tell you that if CIG has money concerns for next year, especially with launching Squadron, needing those marketing dollars, all that kind of stuff, then they're going to do what they need to do. And honestly, I think they should. You know, whether that's selling a battlecruiser, selling a Vandal capital ship, whatever needs to be done to raise the money. Remember, we are, yeah, I can grab the link for you real quick here. I'll actually, let me just grab it from that point and I'll paste that in chat. Remember, this is important. And trust me, I get in that zone sometimes where I'm like, should they sell concept ships? Like, is that a good or a bad thing that they're not doing that anymore? But you got to remember, or should they even sell ships? I'm working on a video right now that does talk a little bit about the issues behind and the controversies behind selling ships. But you got to remember, this is a game that is in active development. We're in alpha. It's a long road on development. They've got to fund this game somehow. They've got to fund the development of it. There's really only two ways to do that. And I mean ongoing funding. Sell stuff, microtransactions, ships, all that. I actually do consider ships microtransactions to some degree. I know they're not micro from a cost standpoint, but they're sort of treated as almost like microtransactions. But digital transactions. And then the other one is subscriptions, right? Subscriptions. They've got to do one or the other. I mean, to be honest with you, even when they go to 1.0, I'm one of the people that thinks they should move to a subscription model. And maybe they keep it cheap. Maybe it's $5 a month. I don't know. But they've got to bring in money somehow. You've got to, if you have an ongoing MMO that is very technical, you've got to have people monitoring the servers, repairing stuff. You've got to have a strike team on staff ready to go to keep the game running. And that's just real life. Things cost money. You know what I mean? So, that being said, you know, it's something we're not going to get around. And concept ships are, it's something that they need to be able to use when they need to raise money. As long as they are continuing to deliver on milestones, that is what should dictate your putting money into the game, right? If CIG is hitting milestones that you think is worthy of your continued support, then you're an adult, you have your own money, support them if you want. If CIG is not hitting the milestones that you've personally laid out before you, if they're not hitting those, then don't give them your money. Make them earn that, right? That's not a white knight or a gray knight or a black knight thing. That's just me saying straight up, set your own milestones, set your own goals for the game, and, you know, use that as your ruler on, you know, where you want to support, where and how much you want to support, or if you want to support. Remember, end of the day, you can buy that $45 game package, you're good to go. You don't need to do anything else. You have supported the game at that point. Okay. Some people will choose to support it with continued pledges. That's fine too. Some people will stop at the one pledge. That's absolutely fine as well. There's no right or wrong here. There's obviously personal responsibility, but that goes with anything in life, you know, buying spaceships, buying a new car, you know. Right now it would be very stupid of me to go buy a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? Looks like we just hit 1,000 messages today with Restream, and it just populated that like 1,000 times in the chat. I don't know why. Sorry. So again, concept ships are just interesting in general, right? I wanted to bring up this next video here to get a little bit more context around the ships that we see in the Squadron 42 gameplay. Now, I've gone over this before. Okay, I've gone over this before in a previous video. And, you know, and actually there's been other people that have gone through it even better than me, to be totally honest with you. So, Norse Peak, thank you for that subscription at 1 month, tier 1. Appreciate that. Death from Hell, thank you for the follow. Everyone, thank you for the follows. Thank you for the subscriptions. all that kind of good stuff. I do appreciate it. Again, real quick, if you want to get in on our giveaway tonight, it is for a Deadlock patch bundle. Comes with the Star Lancer paint. Really cool paint, actually. The Palantino Deadlock armor. And then the F-55 LMG. If you want to get in on that, if you're watching on Twitch, all you got to do is do exclamation ticket in chat. You'll get a ticket. Exclamation ticket. If you're over on YouTube, super easy. I have a link pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. Okay. You just click on that link. It'll take you to my video where I do sort of a reconcept of the constellation. You leave a comment on that video. It can be hi, hello, how are you? You're handsome, whatever. And I will pull a random comment that was left during the stream. I use Comment Shark too, so it is completely random. I'll pull a random comment, and with Stream Elements, I'll pull the winner of the Twitch ticket draw. We'll put both of your names in the random wheel of names. We'll spin it, and then whoever it lands on will win. Okay? That person will get a couple days to claim the prize. They get 2 days to claim the prize. Okay? I'm going to switch back over here. Now, this is the Squadron 42 CitizenCon 2954 live gameplay reveal. I'm sure you all remember this. It was epic. I really enjoyed it. I know some people had issues with it. I know that when they played it live on stage, it did crash once. I was totally okay with that because it just reminded everyone that this is a real game and real development, and we weren't seeing fakery. So I was actually glad CIG did that. I heard that CR didn't love it, but it is what it is. Regardless, I thought it was incredible. At one point I wasn't excited for Squadron 42, but after seeing this, I'm very excited for it. Cynthil, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Again, you all don't have to be watching to win as long as you got a ticket. I give you 2 days to follow up. If you did win and you're not watching, you watch the VOD, you got 2 days to follow up with me. Okay. But I usually always make it right, so don't worry. This video, though, has this one moment where Bishop is standing around the giant hollow globe on the Bengal, and they're looking at sort of the UEE fleet formation, and then they're also looking at the Vandal formation out here. You can see a few of the same types of Vandal capital ships. You can see a few different Vandal ships. All in all, looking at the really large ones, I found 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I saw about 4 to 5 unique ones, right? Cal Nord, thank you for the follow. So we're going to watch this at quarter speed, and you'll be able to see what some of those other ships are. So we're going to hit play here. Make sure I have it at the highest resolution, which it's not. Turn it up here. There we go. Okay, we're going to pause it right here. Now, in this image, you can see a few things, right? You can see the UES Gauntlet up here, which is the Javelin destroyer. We got the UES Banshee, another Javelin destroyer. We have the UES Krugiri, which is the carrier. And you can see right up here, it's really small. It's really hard for you all to read, but it says F carrier or fleet carrier or flag carrier. I'm not sure exactly which one it stands for, but I think it's one of the other. I think it's fleet carrier, right? But additionally, you have some other ships, right? Yeah, Norse Peak says fleet. Okay, good. I was right. There's another ship down here, and there's a couple of these other ships up here. There's 2 types. One right here, the Hadrian, doesn't have the big guns, but does have the flight deck, right? There's another one here, the Corvus and the Integrity. These have big, huge hulking guns on top, and they're a different type of ship, okay? So we're going to let this play for a minute. We'll take a look at what those are. Let's let it play up here. The Corvus is going to move up. Oops, let me go back one. Oops. Oops, 1 second, everybody. 1 second. So the Corvus is listed as a cruiser, but not a battle cruiser, just a cruiser, right? So something kind of interesting there, because I have seen some people say, and this other one over here, the Argus, this ship back here, not the Hadrian, sorry, the Argus, this one back here, that also looks like it's based off the Bengal. It has what looks to be S carrier, so S or E, so it's either an escort carrier or support carrier. I think the Argus is essentially the escort carrier that replaces the Bengal, or sorry, replaces the Pegasus. So this ship, the ship up here, right? I think the Argus is replacing the Pegasus, okay? And that's right there, okay? It does not have the big guns. It just has sort of a large flight deck and sort of a hangar overlay here. It's a little hard to see, but that's the Argus. I think that is essentially that escort carrier that the Pegasus used to be. Okay. Corvus, again, says cruiser. Now, I guess the question there then becomes, is cruiser the same as battlecruiser? Here's why I don't think it is. Okay. Here's why I don't think it is. And the reason is the scale issue. So the Corvus is essentially a variant of the Bengal. There are some major differences, by the way, in terms of its exterior. Again, I can tell you when Squadron comes out, we will get these other variants in Fleet Viewer for sure. But it's a variant of the Bengal, right? So that would mean the Corvus, the Argus and stuff are around that size range, right? Maybe not quite as long, but somewhere around 900 meters, right? 900 meters to 950-ish meters. I think the Battlecruiser sits smaller than that. I think it sits in between the Javelin and the Bengal class of ships. Okay, so again, sitting in that 600 to 700 meter range. Real Mullen says a battlecruiser is a large, fast warship with battleship caliber guns but lighter armor, whereas a cruiser is a smaller warship with a smaller main battery. And then, obviously, as Distroy says, and this is something I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you have to take CIG ship classes a little bit differently than how they are in the real world, because CIG just kind of does a little differently. But again, this gives you an idea. Here's why CIG, I think, will go their own way with the scale of this and not make the Battlecruiser actually bigger than the Corvus and the Bengal. I think it has to do with manufacturing scale. Okay, I'm actually going to go to another video real quick here. Bear with me, everybody. I'm going to bring up another video. Going to bring up a very famous video, and it is the Star Citizen 1.0 video. Okay, I'm going to fast forward back here towards the end where we see the final thing, okay? The dry dock, okay? Which is where you can build your own ships, okay? Let's go here towards the end. I'm going to hit play. And I want you to look at something really particular here. Because remember, this station model here is in gray box. So decently far along. Gray box. Okay, I want you to look right here. There's our two dry dock arms of the station going out. And what's sitting in there? A Bengal. But do you know something specific about that Bengal? That Bengal just fits in those dry dock arms, right? They just work in those. Artemis, the Corvus and Hadrian and all those other ships, a lot of the Squadron ships, I think me and BMXEO will work to get those in after Squadron releases. We'll get them in Fleet Viewer for sure. They're not going to make the Battlecruiser not be able to be constructed in the station dry dock. I just see that as completely silly. I think the Bengal's the maximum ship that will fit in the dry dock. So a lot of these other ships are going to be smaller than the Bengal. And remember, in Squadron 42, the Bengal is the flagship, right? It is the flagship. It's the one that Admiral Bishop is on. He's going to be on the biggest, baddest ship. So it makes sense that the Battlecruiser is smaller than the Bengal, right? It's smaller than the Bengal class of ships. So even if you go off that logic, that means it's somewhere between, it's got to be somewhere from a size standpoint, it's got to be somewhere between 480 meters all the way up to 980 meters or 990 meters. It's got to be somewhere in there. And if I think we take that middle ground, it's sitting 600, 700 meters long. Austin 007, thank you very much. Appreciate it. So that's how we're kind of coming to the estimate there on ship size, right? On like where we think maybe it could hit. I mean, obviously there's speculation there. There's speculation there, but that, you know, that's what we're thinking. That's what we're thinking. Real quick, everyone, stand by.
And in.
Oops, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, that is where the ship sits from a scale perspective. Now, let me switch back over. I think we got a couple more questions here. One second here. Artemis says, can we look at some Halo frigates, Strident class for ample inspiration, please? Let me look that up. So this would be Halo frigates, Strident class. This is what you're saying is, okay, yeah. So this is sort of recommendations for, or sort of reference for possibly what they could do with an Anvil type capital ship, right? Yeah, I mean, I could see something like this. You know, the funny thing though is this this actually looks more like Drake concepts. Have you seen some of the early Kraken concept images? Right? Let me go to that real quick. I'm gonna pull those up. It reminds me, it's not exactly the same for sure, but it does remind me a little bit of some of the Drake concept images before, or sorry, the Kraken concept images before it was like the giant aircraft carrier we all know and love, right? This was like the original Drake Kraken concept. It's got a little bit of that Halo vibe. There's two long vertical columns, so that part is obviously a pretty big difference. But if you chopped one of those off and just kept it the one, I mean, that's very similar to that Anvil, or sorry, to the Halo thing. There's some similarities there. It's got a little bit of that Sulaco sort of stuff in it, Truther. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, there's some DNA there, right? There's some DNA. Yeah, I mean, I think it was Paul Jones even said that he was a big fan of some of these early, and Gavin Rothery, both of those people, by the way, we've had on the show before on STARJUMP Station. Both of them have said that they really liked some of these early Kraken concept images or concept explorations. Now, I agree with Chris Roberts. I'm glad they went with the more aircraft carrier look. Personally, I do own a Kraken, but I do like these concepts. If CIG did a version of this, oh man, I'd be all over it. I tell you right now, I think they should make a large salvage ship somewhere in the 60, 70 meter range that borrows heavily from this. I would so buy that thing. I would so buy it. Real quick here, I wanted to look at some of the descriptions for some of these ships again. So the Pegasus here, going back to that escort carrier, is the Empire's premier small carrier capable of supporting the operations of up to 32 starfighters far from friendly supply. Again, I think this is what that Argus is now fulfilling. There are also 2 Argo utility ships on board. If needed, 2 Retaliators can be held under slung position. So again, I think this ship, I think the reason they went somewhere different with it is it just didn't fit with how ship design moved forward after additional changes were made to the Bengal and the Javelin, the Idris, and other big ships of the line. It just didn't fit from a look perspective. I mean, you can see these early concept images here, really cool. But you can see they were doing work to it. There was a lot of work going on here. And I still like a lot of this. I do think the engines are a little not, this is using the very old engine sort of design stuff, which I think is kind of weird. Here you can see the hangar, by the way. This is the back of the hangar that ships would fly into right here. Next was the cruiser, which we saw. That is like the Corvus, right? The Corvus. It says a military vessel designed for fleet, combat, commerce, raiding, and supply interdiction duties. One several of what are termed capital ships. Typically, a cruiser is similar in size to an escort carrier, larger than a destroyer, and smaller than a battle cruiser or fleet carrier. Now, some of you will take that and say, "Oh, well, it says smaller than a battle cruiser, so the battle cruiser is going to be bigger." No, that's not necessarily what it means. This is just what was probably last told to us years ago. Okay, they can and will change it if they need to. Again, I think because that size limitation is already sort of built in for the Bengal class of ships. And here you can see a better view of the Corvus, right? This is obviously heavily based off the Bengal. It's a Bengal variant. We can assume it's the same length as the Bengal. I think we can all make that assumption. I know it's got 2 engines missing back here, but I think we can make that assumption that it is the same size roughly. Maybe a little smaller, Norse, maybe a little smaller. Maybe it's not the full 990 meters, but I think we can be relatively sure it's still in the ballpark, right? Like 900 meters maybe. Which means you are now at the limit of those station dry docks. 950 meters? Okay. Yeah, maybe something like that. I just think that the battle cruiser, there is a gap. You know, if you look back here, if we remove that Pegasus again, I'm just going to move it up. We have a really big gap in the ship lineup from 480 meters to 990s. There's a 500 meter gap there that some ships could fill in. I think CIG will just build that out as the battle cruiser, and they'll just alter the lore a little bit. It's easier to do. And yeah, it does have the 3 big turrets. It has 2 on top on the fore, and then 1 back here on the aft. The first one here looks to be a dual, while the 2 back here look to be triples, unless the barrel's pushed back because it fired. Maybe they're all triples, but this one I only see two barrels here. Moving on to the Bengal here. The Bengal's a fleet carrier, manufactured by RSI. Obviously, we knew that. Supports fighters, bombers, all that kind of stuff. 990 meters in length. Again, you all know the Bengal. This is a cool image, by the way, that you can, I think there's the mouse pad you can get with this. So, on the wiki, the only write-up about battle cruisers is this. A battle cruiser, designation CB. Again, all this can be updated. Just because CIG said it before doesn't mean they'll say it, or doesn't mean they won't update it, right? Matter of fact, it's a guarantee they'll update it. Is a fast military vessel designed for offensive combat. One of several of what are termed capital ships. Typically, a battle cruiser is similar in scale to an escort carrier, larger than a cruiser and smaller than a battleship or a fleet carrier. So smaller than the 990, but it says similar in size to an escort carrier. So maybe it is in that 900 meter range. We'll have to see. But again, they could alter this. Flyable battlecruiser is part of the $17 million stretch goal. It says no concept art or even class names have been announced so far. One battlecruiser named Braintree is mentioned in reference to the discoveries of the Boccaccio. Hopefully I said that right. So I think there's some lore, probably from an old Spectrum dispatch, that mentions a battle cruiser, right? It's very interesting. I'm very interested in the battle cruiser. I'm excited for it. I think a lot of you probably are too. I personally hope we see it sooner rather than later. I personally do like concept ships, believe it or not. I know a lot of people don't. I do. I personally do. So I would like to see it. All right, really quick here. I'm going to get the giveaway ready. Okay. We're going to start with the stream elements part of things, and then we're going to move to the YouTube, and then we're going to take both of those names, put them in the giant wheel of names. Okay. Now remember, everybody, what we're giving away tonight is the Deadlock patch bundle. Comes with a Starlancer skin, really cool one. The Palantino Deadlock armor, and then the F99. Is the F99? I think so. F55 Deadlock LMG. Okay. Now is your last chance on here. Go ahead and do exclamation ticket to buy a ticket. You can also do exclamation, then put a space and 10 if you want to buy max tickets. I think you can. But go ahead and get your tickets in there. I'm going to be drawing this in about 10 seconds. Okay. Good luck, by the way, everyone. Good luck. If you win, you need to contact me on Discord. You need to get a hold of me on Discord. My username is StarJump_Grim. I will verify it's you. Okay. Okay. I will verify it's you. If you're on YouTube, don't worry. I am going to verify it. Okay. All right, here, everybody, we're going to do it. We're going to do the giveaway closing in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Closing the giveaway. All right. We're going to draw the semifinalist from here. Drawing a winner now. All right. Who's the winner? Did it show? Oh, there's the winner. Texas Horny Toad. Oh my God. Texas got runner up on the last giveaway, so it's perfect. Texas Horny Toad is the semi-finalist here. Great supporter, by the way. We're going to put Texas Horny Toad's name in the wheel of names right there. Okay. Next, we are going to go to the YouTube video. And we're going to pull the random comment from there. This was for the Constellation rework video. We're going to do advanced options, and we're going to set the stream. So for today, it's comments left starting today at 6 p.m. So if those of you watching on YouTube, if you left a comment on that video that's pinned to the top of chat, and you did it anytime after 6 p.m. today, which is when this stream started, I will pull it. I'm going to give you all about 20 more seconds to leave your comments. Okay. It can be a short comment. It can be hi, hello, you're handsome, you're amazing, Battlecruiser, whatever you want to say. Leave a comment on that video. Yeah. By the way, I don't give any special treatment to subscribers or followers on giveaway. It's just open season. Everyone can get in on it. I do appreciate all the followers and subscribers, though. I am trying to grow the channel. Thank you very much. I really encourage everyone, if you want to start a new account on Star Citizen, a second account, or you want to get a friend into the game, please send them my referral link. I would greatly appreciate that. You'll see that right there. You also see a Patreon link if you want to support StarJump and the stuff I do, even more than you already do. But remember, all I ask is you don't have to donate anything. All I ever ask is hang out in the streams, have a good time, let the day wash away, and just enjoy being a community. That's all I ever ask for. The support is extra, of course, and great, but all you have to do, the only thing I ask is to come hang out, have a good time, be positive, enjoy the game, enjoy the community, all that kind of stuff. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and do this. It is set to October 30th, 6 p.m. Eastern time start. Going to pull all comments, doing that now. Newbie, thank you for the follow here. Picking a random comment now. The shark is hunting. The shark is hunting. You can see there it is. T Canal 3. T Canal 3. Okay. Oh, actually, that says 1 month ago. Why did it pull from that? Why did it do that? That's not right. That's too old. That's not right. Why did it not work? We're going to draw another winner because that did not work. Okay, we're set to October 30th, 6 p.m. It pulled a comment from a month ago, everyone. So we're not doing that. We're doing this legit. Okay, there it is. That's all set right. All right, we'll do another random comment here. Oh, did I set the before date? Ooh, sorry. I don't want before. Actually, let me just reload comment picker. We'll just start over. Starting over. 1 second. Let me just bring up random comment picker again. Thank you for that. Someone in chat was letting me know. Thank you very much. Okay, there we go. Let me put the link in there. We'll fix it. Don't worry. Okay, here we go. Let me do advanced options after date. Thank you very much. Grim messed up. What can I say? I'm not perfect. There it is. 30th, 6 p.m. That is the after date. Here we go. Picking a random comment. The shark is hunting. Riddick, I hope you're doing well, buddy. Riddick, congrats. You are a semifinalist. I'm putting your name in the wheel of names now. We got Texas Horny Toad. We've got Riddick in there. Riddick, are you even in chat? Say hello if you are. Your comment was left minutes ago, 24 minutes ago, so you're definitely put it in. All right, here we go. Riddick, there's Riddick. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Nice to see you. Riddick, longtime STARJUMP supporter as well. Got a Texas Horny Toad and Riddick in there. This will be for the Deadlock patch bundle. Remember, whoever wins, you do need to get a hold of me on Discord, and I'll get you set up with that download bundle. Patch bundle. Yeah, there we go, patch bundle. Here we go, everybody. Good luck. Jeremiah Wright, these are over for today, but we'll be streaming on Saturday, and you can get in on another giveaway. Oh, Riddick. Riddick, congratulations. Congratulations, Riddick. Texas Horny Toad, this is the second time you've been a runner-up. I got to figure out a runner-up prize for you. I got to figure out a good runner-up prize for you. Riddick, congratulations, though. Excellent job. You have won the Deadlock Patch Bundle. Please get a hold of me on Discord if you would. Thank you for that subscription, Jonathan Hughes. Really appreciate it. Everyone, it's come that time. First off, my God, look at the amount of people that have shown up tonight. I want to take a look here. We had freaking 130. At one point we had 140 on Twitch. That's one of my biggest streams ever with no raids. That's incredible. You all are amazing. And on YouTube, 230 watching. Both communities, absolutely incredible. I really, really, really appreciate it. Absolutely incredible. I'm going to raid someone now on Twitch. We're going to raid someone who was one of the first STARJUMP supporters. And I would really, those of you on Twitch, I really hope you hang on just for a second and please give this person some love and some follows, please. They're one of the first people to support me. One of the very first. Back when I had like no subscribers. Okay. So I would like you to give him a little bit of that love. The rest of you, my amazing YouTube community, thank you very much. I want to remind everybody, before I go, this is important. I hope you will all join me Saturday, where my wife is going to be on stream with me, and we are going to rate Star Citizenship. Sirius, thank you very much. I appreciate you. DV, thank you very much. I appreciate it. My wife's going to be on stream with me Saturday night, and she's going to be rating Star Citizenship. She don't know anything about Star Citizen, so you know this is going to be fun as hell. And I'm going to do some giveaways. I might give away a ship on Saturday. Okay, I might give away a ship. But there it is. Please stick around. Give this next person a lot of STARJUMP love. I'm going to send you over to someone who has been supporting STARJUMP forever. I'm going to send you over to my good buddy DJ360. Make sure you give him some Star Jump love. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out today. I know it was a little bit of shorter stream, but I had a lot of fun. I will see you all Saturday night. I do have that up on the schedule. Everybody, have a great night.